The rise of farming and the lethal gift of livestock.
The switch from a nomadic hunter-gatherer lifestyle to one of food production was not an immediate one. Rather, the earliest method of farming was more along the lines of ancient humans managing the land instead of planting and harvesting crops. Ancient Aboriginal Australians were noted to have managed their landscape by clearing away trees that competed with the wild yams in the area.
It took several thousand years for humans to evolve to the point of relying predominantly on farming as a source of food. Many of the first gardens that appeared around 11,000 BC were simply cultivated as insurance in case of a shortage of wild game. However, as time progressed, several biological and cultural evolutions produced four major factors that made the switch from hunting and gathering to farming necessary for survival. The first major factor was the decline of natural prey. Large mammal populations in the Americas and Eurasia experienced rapid decline, sometimes to the point of extinction. During this time, another ecological factor, natural climate change, expanded the area that grains such as wheat and barley were able to grow. The abundance of these easily domesticated crops brought about the third factor that supported farming, the introduction of technology and tools. Around 11,000 BC, inventions such as woven baskets, storage pits, and scythes began to appear in the Fertile Crescent area. Finally, the fourth factor that virtually killed the hunter-gatherer lifestyle was the opportunity of rapid population growth that farming provided. No longer having any need to migrate in search of prey, humans were able to settle in an area while still providing enough food for their society. Hunters were then forced to either adopt these new methods of food production or die. With the cultivation of crops came the domestication of live animals, and with this steady supply of food, all seemed well in the world. However, a biological problem was slowly developing, and it would eventually lead to the decimation of entire human civilizations. Like all living things, microorganisms such as bacteria and germs evolve and adapt in order to further their species. These microbes existed primarily in animals, including livestock. Fast forward 9,000 years, and the microbes have evolved to the point where animal-to-human transmission became possible, with deadly consequences. One such example of an outbreak of zoonotic disease is the bubonic plague that devastated much of Europe and Asia during the 14th century. It is estimated that this pandemic reduced the global population by nearly 100 million people. However, this was not the last time the destructive power of these lethal microbes was demonstrated. In fact, it was these very germs that Europeans had become acclimated to that allowed Europe to conquer the New World. It was an outbreak of Spanish smallpox among the unaccustomed Aztecs that allowed Hernando Cortés and 600 of his men to conquer the formidable Aztec Empire in the 1500s. Less than a decade later, another Spanish conquistador, Francisco Pizarro, was able to conquer the massive Incan Empire with only 168 men, as most of the empire had succumbed to smallpox prior to his arrival. This theme of decimation through biological means is in no way unique to South America. Over the next few centuries, millions of natives from Missouri to Hawaii were wiped out by these European diseases. This leads me to my concluding discussion question. How might the New World have developed differently if the natives